Rise of the Sky Hunters, the war against the wild boar. Every year, across the heartlands of America, a silent war rages beneath the open sky. The enemy isn't human. It doesn't march in formation or wave a flag. It comes at night, in hooves and tusks, in shadows that move like smoke across the farmlands. Wild boars. Million strong. Relentless. Intelligent. Destructive beyond measure. They tear through wheat and cornfields, rip apart fences, crush irrigation lines, and plow through the earth like living bulldozers. They ruin livelihoods overnight, their rampage measured not just in acres lost, but in human exhaustion, despair, and fear. And yet, for every destroyed field and broken fence, there are those who refuse to surrender. Farmers, ranchers, pilots, and marksmen who have decided to take the fight to the skies. This is their story. The story of the helicopter hunters. Of courage born from chaos. Of men and women who defy gravity, flying low and fast to reclaim their land from a beast that will never stop. The call to arms. The sun hung low over the Texas plains, painting the horizon in molten gold. Below, fields lay scarred, patches of ruined crops, muddy trails carved deep by cloven hooves. Each mark a wound on the land. In a small hangar on the edge of Lubbock County, the whine of turbines broke the dawn's silence. Mechanics checked the blades, fuel lines hissed, and hunters loaded rifles with meticulous care. Every movement spoke of precision, discipline, and the weight of necessity. Standing beside the chopper was Thomas Reeve, a seasoned hunter whose eyes carried the weariness of a man who had seen too much loss to sit idle. He watched the horizon quietly and said, "They come every night now. You can't sleep without hearing them. You can't plant without losing it. If we don't stop them, they'll take everything." Behind him, his partner Jake Holden strapped on a headset and gave a grim nod. They weren't chasing sport. They were defending survival. Into the sky. At precisely 4:12 p.m., the helicopter lifted from the ground, a roaring steel bird rising into the blazing air. The sound was deafening, primal, alive. From above, the world looked raw and fragile. Fields stretched endlessly below, scarred by trails that marked the path of the invaders. Through the headset, the pilot's voice crackled. Visual confirmed. Movement east sector. 30 heads, minimum. Thomas leaned out the open door, wind whipping against his face. The rifle pressed firm against his shoulder. Down below, motion. A herd, black and gray, moving fast through the brush. He signaled. The helicopter dipped low. The blades sliced the air, sending a hurricane of dust swirling. The boars scattered, their formation breaking. "Take the lead," Jake shouted through the roar. Thomas steadied his rifle, breath sharp and focused. Then, crack. The bullet tore through the air. A clean strike. One fell instantly. The rest surged into a frenzy. The helicopter pivoted sharply, circling wide. Thomas fired again. Another down. Dust exploded beneath the rotors, sunlight catching the chaos in flashes of gold and brown. Every shot was a battle against vibration, wind, and gravity, a test of control in motion. Left flank. 2 breaking for the tree line. I see them. Jake swung his rifle, firing in bursts. The bullet struck true. Below, the ground shook with the panic of retreat. Boars darted in every direction, their thick hides glinting like armor in the sun. In the chaos, Thomas felt something deeper than adrenaline, a sense of grim duty. They weren't here to hunt. They were here to protect the enemy below. By evening, the heat shimmered above the plains. Sweat burned their eyes, and the chopper's cabin reeked of gunpowder and oil. But the mission wasn't done. Through the haze, another herd appeared, larger this time. Dozens. Maybe more. A black tide surging through golden fields, the pilot's voice cut through the static, that's at least. "50. They're moving toward the north fence." Thomas clenched his jaw. "If they breach it, the cattle are done." The helicopter dove lower, barely 20 feet above the ground. The wind screamed through the open hatch as they lined up for another run. The first shot missed, thrown off by turbulence. The second hit, square and brutal. Then the world erupted in motion. The herd split, tusks flashing, eyes burning with wild fury. One massive boar, a giant, charged straight toward the sound of the rotors, unafraid. It looked up at them, snarling, as if defying the sky itself. Thomas took aim. His finger tightened on the trigger. Crack. The boar fell, a beast of over 300 pounds, silenced mid-roar. He exhaled slowly. That's one less nightmare. Between sky and soil. The hours blurred. What had begun as pest control now felt like a war fought on instinct and endurance. The helicopter was low on fuel, the ammunition almost spent. But the mission couldn't stop. Below, the land rolled endlessly, farms, rivers, forests. Each stretch told the same story, battle scars carved by tusks. As night approached, the last light spilled across the plains, painting everything in deep amber. Thomas removed his headset and let the sound of the blades fade into a hum. For a moment, he watched the fields, quiet, still, seemingly peaceful. He knew better. "They'll be back," he said softly. "They always come back." Jake nodded. "Then we'll be waiting." Ground war in California. 1,000 miles west, another front in the same war was unfolding. California, where sprawling orchards and vineyards now faced ruin. Under the shade of twisted oaks, farmer Luis Mendoza knelt beside the remains of his fence. The posts were splintered. The ground torn apart. "Every night," he muttered, voice breaking. "Every damn night they come." For men like Luis, this wasn't a story about. This wasn't a story about wildlife, it was survival. Each acre lost meant debts unpaid, futures erased. That's when Thomas's ground unit arrived, 6 hunters, armed with thermal scopes, night vision, and the quiet confidence of men who had faced the impossible before. Into the fields. Darkness had fallen. The moon was thin, a ghost above the horizon. Dogs moved ahead in silence, trained to catch scent but not give chase too soon. The hunters spread out across the field, each step deliberate. Through the scope, the world glowed in shades of green. Movement, 10 meters ahead. A shadow broke from the undergrowth. The boar's tusks caught the moonlight. Target 1. Range 30. Engaging. Crack. The first shot shattered the quiet. The beast dropped instantly. Then came the stampede. A roar of movement, like thunder rolling through the earth. Boars poured from the darkness, dozens of them. Dogs barked furiously, holding formation as the hunters opened fire in controlled bursts. Left flank. Keep them from the barn. Reloading. Watch your 6. It was chaos, pure, blinding chaos, but practiced chaos. They'd done this before. Each hunter covered the other, weaving through the smoke and dust, every trigger pull guided by instinct and training. Within minutes, the field fell silent. The herd lay broken. The soil still trembled from the memory of their charge. Luis stepped forward, eyes wide with disbelief. His crops, trampled, but saved from total ruin. He looked at Thomas, voice trembling. "You saved my season." Thomas only nodded. "You saved your land. We just helped." The cost of the hunt. When dawn returned, the fields glowed golden once more. But among the survivors, human and animal, exhaustion hung heavy. The hunters sat quietly near the truck, sipping coffee that had long gone cold. No one spoke. The silence said enough. Because beneath every victory lies a truth few want to face. This war is endless. For every boar that falls, another takes its place. For every night of peace, another storm brews in the wild. Still, they return. Because to them, to Thomas, Jake, Luis, and countless others, this isn't about the kill. It's about defending what cannot defend itself. The soil. The crops. The homes built by generations who refuse to give up. And somewhere between the roar of the engines and the whisper of the dawn wind, they find purpose.